Hi, I'm Brandon, and this is episode, I don't know, I do that every single time, 16, I think, of the Stranded Colorwork discussion. I haven't said it in a while, but this is a 17 or 18 part series on Stranded Colorwork knitting. This is, I said, episode 16 maybe. We're getting close to the end, maybe 15. It'll say, I'll key it across the bottom here. So then I'll look like an idiot because the key's across the bottom of the page. But anyway, never mind. So this is the second video of a 2-video grouping on Steeks. And if you haven't, the first half, we talked about Steek stitches, some of the ways you can use them, how you secure them before you cut. Or not. I mean, sometimes with the rustic yarns, with the Shetland yarns, and some of the other rustic type yarns, you don't have to secure them before you cut because they're not going anywhere. Those types of yarns almost felt, as you're knitting them. It's called sticky yarns. But now this second half is going to be what you do after you cut, and you've got that steek, what I call the cut steek flap. Because it is, because I use, and I mentioned in the last video, I use 10 stitches as my steek stitches. They can be anywhere from 2 to, 11, 12, 13 maybe. But I use 10 just because that's what I was, taught to do, was 10 stitches. And so you have a purl stitch on either side, and you have 8 knit stitches in the middle that alternate the colors, because you only have 2 colors per round. So you alternate the colors in the middle, and you can either do them as stripes, or you can do them as checkerboard, or you can do them just willy-nilly, which I do sometimes too, as long as you kind of alternate them as you go along. But when you cut them in the middle of those 10 stitches. So therefore you have anywhere from 4 to 5 stitches on either side of that cut steek. Of the cut steek, and so you have that flap just kind of sitting there. You got to figure out what to do with it, and sometimes you can cut it back. But what we're going to talk about before you even secure that is picking up stitches after you cut the steek, so that presumably if you've got a steek which is a placeholder for an opening, whether it's the front of a cardigan or a sleeve, an opening for a sleeve, you're going to want to do something once you make the opening. And so you pick up stitches around the armhole to knit down to the wrist, if that's the way you're doing it, or you pick up stitches for the rib, a rib for buttonholes or buttons on the front of a cardigan. So what we're going to talk about is the way I pick up stitches in that instance. How I would pick up stitches at the edge of a cut steek, or basically anytime I have to pick up stitches like that. Is it the right way of doing it? Not necessarily. It's not wrong either. Is it the only way to do it? No. It's just the way I do it. And I don't think I've said this in a while in this series, but what this series includes is just the way I do things. I teach a lot of classes on this, and people say, well, what do you do? And I go, well, this is how long of a tail I leave, or this is the way I do that, or this. And that will at least give you as the learner a place to start to decide whether you like that, or some other way and you're going to go, that's stupid, Varian, I'm not going to do that. Or you say, well, that's the way Varian does it. I've just read the way somebody else does it, and I really like the way Varian does it better. Or I've read the way somebody else does it, and I'm thinking, that's where I'm going to do it. Or you take what I'm showing you and you make it so that it is comfortable for you. And that's the whole point of the whole thing. So that was a long roundabout way to say this second part of the series is part of just to explain a bit, it's part of a video that I had posted some time ago that because of some technology issues got chopped off. It didn't render completely. And now that I've got a new computer and a new everything, I can now render the full video. And when I looked at it, I thought, what I probably should do is just break it in half, or relatively in half, which is what this is. So this is the second half. And so at the end of the video I did originally, I show some examples of using steek stitches. When I come back after you watch this second half, I've got a couple more examples, just because I've done a couple more things. And I've got an older sweater here that you can kind of see as a point I'm trying to make, whatever. The only other thing I'd like to say is that apparently when I did this several years ago, I was so anxious to get this thing done for my friend that I didn't even look at a mirror before I sat down in front of the camera, because you can tell that my lipstick is just not completely on right. It's kind of flaked off. I use this lipstick that is more of a stain. I don't know what you call it. Anyway, it's one of those things that when I watch the video, I kind of go, that's all I can see is the fact that there's a little piece of lipstick off, a little piece of color off on my lip. So now I tell you about it. So if you didn't notice it before, you'll notice it now. And so you too will join the I can't see anything else besides that. Anyway, the information's good, but the makeup is not good. But the information is good, I promise you. So with all that being said, let's take a look at the second half of this video on Steeks.
Right in between here, this is the body, and this is the steek flap. I'm going to start picking up stitches right in there, and you can see that it's kind of picking it up in that ladder through there. So I want to go, and what I do is I go all the way through, wrap the yarn around the needle, and then pull it up. I'm using this really bright color so you can see what I'm doing. Pull it up like that, trying not to split the yarn. There we go. Pull up like that, and that's stitch number 1. And then I go in the next little area right there, wrap the yarn around the back, and pull it up, and that's stitch number 2. Now, your pattern will tell you how many stitches that you have to pick up along a certain area, whether it's the front, whether it's the armhole, whether it's the front button band or buttonhole, I seem to have split a bit here. It'll tell you how many pick up. Well, let's just say you had to pick up 140 along a certain length. Now, what I do is I will fold it in half and make a mark halfway done, and say, well, then that's 70, and then half of that is the 35, and then half of that is, 27-ish. So then I'll just do it that way, putting a marker every time I reach one of my milestones here. And I'll just put straight pins or DPNs or something. So, but I'll keep on going, picking up stitches in the back. I'll show you what this looks like in just a second. But going through, wrap it around, and pulling it through. So stab it in all the way through. Comes out the back like that. Wrap it around that needle, and then come forward, and it'll be right there, and you just pick it up like that. So, and if you keep it real tight up to the body, that's going to be real tight. What you're doing is you're not pulling on any of these stitches to make this. You're not distorting them in any way. And you're also adding extra security to your cut steek, to your steek flap. And I'll show you that in just a second. So go all the way. Come on, darling, where are you? Yeah. Sometimes it takes a little bit. There's that one. Let's go one more. Go in there. Through. I don't know why I've got that extra stitch. There we go. Through here, and then one more through like that. Now, so there are all my stitches, and if I was really doing this for real, I would have been counting those. There are all my stitches ready to knit the sleeve, the button flap, whatever you need, the neck ribbing, whatever you need. But the interesting thing, here's your steek flap. Now you see I worked with all that, and it's not going anywhere. Little rough, little ragged there, but you've got all that space. You don't have to worry about it. But if you look in the back here, you can see that every time I came through, I created a line of stitches. And those line of stitches are going to hold that yarn in. That can be, I don't know where that came from, but it can be just cut off. So there we are. So there's that extra stitch in there. So by picking up stitches that way, you secure it even more. So then what you'll end up doing is now knitting this way to make the rib. And then this, once you get that done, or even after you just picked it up, then you need to secure this on this side. So you would take, now I'll just do this. You will take whatever color you want and fold this down. And this is after, you can do this after you've knitted your rib or not. I just fold it down just to cover the edge like this. And obviously you're not going to use this pink color, but you'll use something that is, well, let's secure that on the inside first. I would probably kind of pick up purl bumps and things back like that. Pull that in. And secure this edge right there. That is from, yeah, that edge. And then go over here and just pick up, now that's in the steek, so it's not going to be showing out the front. And then cross over like that and pick up something in the back of a purl bump underneath there. Cross over, pick up something on that side, cross over this way, and come up here, back up to the top. Like that, okay? And you can do that neater than that, but this is, I usually use this on a sleeve where it's not going to be shown as much. And then on the way, then what you do is you come back and pick up that edge and cross over this, and you come back down the other way. Probably turn it this way and come back down the other way, picking up here and cross and pick up underneath there. So you end up with an X, kind of an X pattern. And this is how Alice Starmore taught us to secure our steeks, the steek flap in itself. Okay, and then you would kind of weave that in. So that's how it would look on the inside. That's why I would use that around a sleeve and not on the inside of a cardigan. And of course, this would be the rest of the sleeve going out this way. It doesn't show from the front here. All those are part of the pattern itself. And then I would wet block everything and then take a wet wash rag and a steam iron and just lay it flat on it and hit it with a shot of steam, and that'll make it very flat. What it does is it gives you some stability around your sleeve, and it gives you stability up the front of your cardigan. Now for a cardigan, the sleeve flaps for the front of the cardigan, I have now started using the crocheted secure. Don't you just love all this hot pink yarn? I just figured you could see it better. And for this one, to secure this, I would again start back in here just to kind of anchor the end of the yarn. Pull it all the way to the end like that, and then fold this back. This is after you've picked up stitches in that steek in the purl edge. And then all you really need to do is just whip this through the purl bumps along here, so that what that forms is around the edge. What that forms is that little bit of color right in there on the inside of your cardigan. So there you have it. Hit the thing again, sorry. So there you have it. So that's how you secure both of these. Now I teach a class on various types of constructions for sweaters and things. And I thought I'd show you these. When you are using a steek to do on the either side for a neck. Now these are the steeks that are here for the armhole, and that's kind of how they stay. You put a certain number of stitches on a holder underneath the arm for the underarm, and then you cast on stitches for your steek, and that's how it is. It just is kind of sitting out there, and then almost the second to last round, you would cast off your steek, and then this will be cut open, and then your arm, the sleeve would come out from there. This is my favorite, though, is this V-neck, is that this, before I cut the steek, these two flaps were sitting together kind of like that, okay? And I did all the decreases for the V-neck on either side. And then when it cut open, it comes open like that, makes it into the V-neck, which I think is just really cool. So I said this would be the flap together, and then you cut it and it falls open like that, which is cool. This is a little, kind of really a Frankenstein sweater, if you will. This was showing two different types of doing, two different ways of putting in sleeves in the round. This one is without a steek, that it's a set-in sleeve, and it takes a lot of manipulations math-wise. This is the sleeve for a drop shoulder sleeve where there is a steek in here, and the red is where I picked up the stitches around the armhole that was cut open. But what I wanted to show you, and I use this a lot for classes, that you can see that this steek, this is the steek flap that was for that sleeve. This is the steek flap for the sleeve, and I haven't touched it, and it's still kind of sitting there, right there. And the sleeves are picked up around this hole where it was cut open. And then the front neck, there was a steek right here for the front neck, and when it was cut, it opened out like that. You can see that better on the front. The ribbing's on, so it's a little difficult to see. But there was a sleeve, there was a steek. Oops, there's part of it right there, and there's part of it right here. That was together, and all the decreases to make this scoop down were on the outside of that steek. And when the steek was open, the neck sloped around like this, and then I picked up stitches for the rib, like that. Okay, let's go look at some other examples. All right, hopefully that was clear. I mean, I think sometimes when you can see things close up, they're clearer that way. But I have some examples of steek stitches like I just talked about. So this was a sweater called Crisana, and I showed you this one. This is the steek that goes up the front. It's been trimmed down. There is the steek in the, that is the one that, see, this is so dark. I am so sorry. But that's the steek right there. That was the steek flap that was sewn down in this particular sweater. This was done by Shetland women. This is one of my patterns. This is another one of my patterns where I've used this a lot. This is called Wilkins, and the steeks on here, I've gotten them secured down, the flaps secured down. Yeah, I did it with crisscross stitches. Let's see if I can get closer. You can see this. You can see the crisscross. Let's see if I can put the glasses on so I can see what I'm showing you. You can see the gray crisscross stitches in here. This is the steek that was the armhole steek. And as I said, I really kind of prefer this for the armhole. And you can see the X's out like that. And then you have a steek around the neck that makes it go swoop down, a little, you know what I mean. But here are the flaps for that. And I bet I have reblocked this sweater 100 times, not 100 times, but a couple times. And then that is the steek that was cut to make the scoop of the neck. And it's not secured, never been secured, and it's just kind of sitting there, it's kind of felted up. It's just kind of there. So it's not going anywhere. This is Shetland yarn. That's Jamieson and Smith yarn. This is one where it is not, it's probably superwash. It is not, I did a crocheted secure on this one.
But what I like about this one, I did this for a class to kind of show them it's not real straight, but it adds a certain number on the inside of the front of the cardigan. So here's the front of the cardigan like this, and it is right in there, and that just got whipped down like I showed you after I picked up stitches for this I-cord binding off the front. So that's that one for a cardigan. This is one it's what I call an encased or a closed up steek. This is the front of a long coat that goes on forever like this. This one, the front of the coat the steek was cut and then picked up stitches like you would a rib, but not do a ribbing. It just comes out, and I did a picot edge and turned it back and then just fastened it on the inside. The cut steek flap is inside there. So it's completely cased. It's not encased. It's not going anywhere. So there's that one. Same thing with this. This is actually a pattern I just released again. This is called Salute a Sunrise. This is a long shawl, and it was made in the round. So that what I was knitting on in the round was just that circumference over and over again with a steek on the side. And the steek was cut and stitches were picked up along the edge, knitted this way, and then secured on the back side like a hem, and the steek flap is on the inside. It's all encased in there, so it's not going anywhere. That is knit 1, crochet 2. It's got some bamboo, and it's very soft. It's not rustic yarn. This is one that actually was in Knitter's Winter 2017. This is called the Dublin Pullover, and you can see. Let's see if I can make it so you can see it. You can see I did X's to close that steek flap. What am I trying to say? Connect to that steek flap. Hello. This is another cardigan. This is Daddy's Request. Right now, that pattern's out too. But I'm not trying to sell you patterns. I'm just trying to show you examples, just in case you want to know what they are. This one, I thought I was picking up this hot pink to secure the steek with the crocheted chain, and just grabbed red instead. It just happened to be in the bottom of my bag, and I thought it was the hot pink, and it's not. But it's fine. It's but it kind of, that way I'm not using the X's on the center of the cardigan, but it looks like it's just a little piping on the inside. So I think that's kind of nice. And then here's the big coat. This is Aryan, and it has the same sort of thing. The steek was cut, and then a big border was put on. So the steek flap is right in there, and then this big border was knitted, and then attached on the back side there. So there you have it. There is nothing to be afraid of. I mean, it's been done. I mean, Lord knows it's been done forever, and from knitters, most who do this kind of work, they use some sort of connection if they're going to be knitting completely in the round. Okay, you've now seen some examples that I from the other video. I have a couple more. I have 3 more to show you. This one is a very old sweater. It's called Pisgah Forest. I didn't like the way the neck did because I was trying to be dramatic and having a slopey front neck that just didn't work. But I like the colors and I like everything about it. It was a cardigan. But in this case, I can show you, I know I said on the video that I very rarely use that crisscross technique for the front of the inside of a cardigan. Apparently I did, well, I know I did. I originally did do that. So you can see all of that, right here. If you make that crisscrossy stuff in the same kind of colors that are in your sweater or in your garment, it kind of disappears. I mean, it's sitting right there. Here's the front of the cardigan, and it's just, kind of there. It always adds some stability to the front of your sweater, which is really nice. So that is that one. It also has metal buttons. Can you tell when you heard it hit the floor? Here's another one. This is another version of Daddy's Request, which is a pattern of mine that it's a yoked pattern. This one's a cardigan with what's called lice, which is what this little thing is. Why is that doing that? Or if I got a shadow, that's very fascinating. Oh well, sorry. I don't tell anybody that I used to be in television. I was never a lighting director, but I obviously have a shadow. But anyway, it's better than the lipstick. So here it is. This one does not have a steek for the armhole because it's a yoke sweater. It does have a steek down the front because it's a cardigan. And the inside of this has, I used the white color, it's actually called oyster, right down the front, like that. So that is, it's probably a little bright. And did I use the right size crochet hook? Did I use the correct size crochet hook? Probably not. But it works. It's all there. It works. And then the last one I'm going to show you is another shawl. The first one I showed you in the other video was called Salute a Sunrise, and it was done so that you cast on a fewer number of stitches, but you had to knit further. You cast on the width of the shawl, and you had to knit the length. In this case, I cast on the length of the shawl, or a portion of it, which is like this. Oh, there we go. I probably have got this upside down. I do. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, I cast on the length of the shawl and put a steek at the end. So I was knitting one big circle like this. I had more stitches to work on, but I had a shorter amount of knitting to do, if that made sense. Anyway, I cut the steek open like this. I then picked up stitches along that cut steek flap to go this way to make this end piece, and so I wouldn't have to work that in the round. I did put a steek on the side of that, so that then I'm working this around and around to make this end piece like that. The cut steek flap got encased just like all the other shawl, and the front of the coat, the cut steek flap got encased in a hem that was picked up and gone around this way, and then the original steek flap was picked up and put into stitches where I made let me try this again. I made this little sort of binding hem facing, I think is what it's probably better called. I did that and sewed that on and knitted it together with the stitches I picked up along to see the green here. That green bit right there, those stitches were knitted together with the live stitches from this hem, facing to go forward. So now I've got this hanging out here, and I sewed that down in the back. Bottom line, never mind all that. Bottom line is the cut steek flap is encased on the inside of the shawl. So it just looked a little neater for a shawl. A sweater is one thing to do the crisscrossy stuff on the edge or around a sleeve. On the inside of the shawl that was going to be draped all over the place, it just looked neater to have something like this on the inside. So that's about it. So anyway, if you've got any questions about steeks or stranded color work or anything like that, please feel free to get in touch. Please, because I'm here to help. I just want you to love it as much as I do, because it is so much fun to work. It's very addictive. So, all right, well, you guys take care of yourselves, and the next one up is, the next one up is if you have cut this hole, you've opened it up, you are picking up these stitches around. What we're going to talk about is centering your pattern so that the center of the motif ends up at your shoulder, and then how you start it underneath the arm so that happens. And that takes a little bit of math. And the other is then just buttonholes down the front of the cardigan, just how you figure out the math on that. There are formulas for both. It's not hard at all. So, all right, thank you so much, and I hope you will join me next time. Bye-bye.